So, of course, I'm suspicious.
Well, you should be suspicious, and if it's such a great plan, then they should be the first ones in line. It's almost, again, like they want us to take an experimental medicine, but they're afraid to death to take it for themselves.
Oh, what pleasures I have for my next project. Yeah, maybe we'll nuke 'em this time. Oh, yes. Yes, what do you want, you half-thing? Yes? After the slaves are healthcare! So the slaves want my money, huh? My money they work for? Yes? Yeah. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, they're so stupid they'll believe anything. Yes, give him that stack of papers over there. That stack of 2,000 pages of nothing but pure bullshit. Yeah, that doesn't have nothing to do with healthcare. And, well, tell him it covers pre-existing conditions. Yeah. Yes.
Now, you mentioned the pre-existing conditions, and yes, there needs to be a way that people aren't excluded completely, but let's be careful that we don't just say the insurance companies out in the private marketplace have to take all comers regardless of the basis. But let's be careful that we don't just say the insurance companies out in the private marketplace have to take all comers regardless of the basis, because if we applied that to every other kind of insurance, that'd be like saying I'm going to wait to buy car insurance until after the wreck, or even worse, I'm going to wait to buy life insurance the day after, that my loved one died. Obviously, there has to be some sense of shared risk. That's how insurance works. That's how insurance works. And I think that there's a disconnect again. We ought to have a way in which people get health care they need. But there ought to have to be shared responsibility. And if you choose not to have insurance...
So the slaves want my money, huh? My money they work for? Yes? Yeah.
Then you're going to have to pay for your own illnesses. And if it means we do a means test and we find out your assets and so...
I was misinformed about the IRS punishing people who don't cooperate with Obamacare. The interview was quite something. The IRS is now going to have to enforce Obamacare. So if you say, flip it, I ain't buying it, then the IRS is the one that is going to make the determination whether you get fined or what happens to you.
So the slaves want my money, huh? My money they work for? Yes? Yeah.
So again, the IRS is going to have access to information. That is not true. If you don't want to buy health insurance, the IRS has to see to it that you do. That's what universal health care is. The IRS then comes in and deals with that person. That's not true. Who deals with them? Who determines the fine? It's in the law. I'm asking you the simplest question in the world. If somebody refuses to cooperate, who fines them, and you can't tell me?
1 century later, a corrupt U.S. Congress committed the biggest theft in world history. They passed Paul Warburg's Federal Reserve Act in 1913, handing over America's gold and silver reserves and total control of America's economy to the Rothschild banksters. Most Americans still believe that the Fed, or Federal Reserve, is the government. It is not. The Fed is a privately owned banking system whose majority Class A shareholders are the Rothschilds, Warburgs, Kuhn and Loeb, J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, Israel Seif, and the Lehman Brothers. This private banking cartel is the Fed and is never audited and never pays taxes. They print and design America's money, which displays their symbols of an Egyptian pyramid, a Masonic all-seeing eye, and the words "In God We Trust." Who exactly is the God they trust? They also collect American taxpayers' money through the IRS. Then they loan it back again with interest to pay for roads, bridges, and other public.
So the slaves want my money, huh? My money they work for? Yes? Yeah.
And he couldn't. So what is the truth of the matter? I hope Mr. Weiner has a pen. Number one, beginning in 2014, the IRS will be the primary enforcement arm of universal health care, and they might need 16,000 new agents. If you don't buy health insurance, the IRS can fine you. That is, take part of your tax refund up to 2.5% come 2016. For some people, that's huge. Number two, the IRS will have control over who does and does not purchase health insurance. We hear that you will have to tell the agency your insurance status on your tax returns. Number three, the feds can punish you in other ways if you don't get a tax refund. If you're receiving any other federal benefits, they could take them away from you after checking first with the, ready, Congressman Weiner, IRS. So you can see that the Internal Revenue Service will greatly expand its power under Obamacare. So I believe I was correct in my assessment, and Mr. Weiner was a bit confused. As always, we're ready to receive facts to the contrary. The importance of the IRS deal is the constitutional challenge to Obamacare. Does the federal government have a right to demand that you buy anything?
Say, look, you chose to buy a car, and say, look, you chose to buy a car, and say, look, you chose to buy a car and have all the channels on cable TV and buy front row concert tickets, have all the channels on cable TV and buy front row concert tickets. Your neighbor was buying health insurance, you don't get yours after the fact, and then just pay a little $325 fine while your neighbor over here has been paying $700 a month for his insurance.
So the slaves want my money, huh? My money they work for? Yes? Yeah.
That is what makes so many people mad. We are penalizing the responsible and we're rewarding the irresponsible. That's not something that Americans understand or agree with. That's not something that Americans understand or agree with. That's not something that Americans understand or agree with.
Psych them up. Lie to them. They love to lie too. Yes. And for the ones that ask for a public option. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What is this? It's a butt plug. Yes. Butt plug. Yes. They can go plug themselves for a public option. Yeah. Yeah, give each one of them that and tell them it's universal. Everybody can use it. Yes.
And it's that kind of thing that causes the outrage that we've seen in the people.
Calm down.
Boss, he's just a little excited.
I know. I'm going to use good judgment. I haven't lost my temper in 40 years. But, Pilgrim, you caused a lot of trouble this morning. Might have got somebody killed.
Building 7 ablaze at the moment and apparently getting ready to collapse.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I won't. The hell I won't.